Hello, I'm Terry Manley, and I'm one of your directors for the KBS, and this is going to be your online captains meeting. And during this meeting, we're going to go over a few things. We're going to go over some of the rules, safety, and CPR for the online tournaments. This also will do for those that cannot make a captains meeting. You can also watch this to also be as your captains meeting for a physical tournament as well. We're also going to go through the website, so as we're doing this, you'll know how to navigate the website and know where to find everything correctly. So first off, if you'll notice, we're right here on the home page at the very top. If you would scroll down just a few inches, you can see that we have all of the trails here, all 4 of them listed. And if you'll notice at the bottom, it's called the identifier code. Now, for all of your online tournaments, the night before at 10 p.m., which you'll see up here at 10 p.m., the night before each tournament on the online ones, we're going to post up identifier code here. It will not be this code it's showing. It's just there for looks. This will be a different code for each tournament, and each tournament, the code will change. So it will be posted the night before. That keeps anybody from fishing the day before or a week before knowing the code and trying to use that code for fish outside the tournament. So this code will not be put up until the night before the tournament. Make sure this code is written on your hand or on a card that we can identify in each of your pictures you submit. That code has to be in there. If it's not in there, the fish will not, or the uploaded bass will not count for that tournament. And we'll notify you. You'll get a text letting you know if you happen to have a photo submitted that doesn't have the code in it. As you move on down, it says get familiar. This is getting familiar with your rules. There's a few places within the website that you can get on here, but this is the first place it comes up at. So if you'll click on one of the rules, it's going to carry you to a site, and you can choose KBS, KBS Elite Trail, or Youth Trail, or the School Trail. Now, I'll tell you right now about the only difference between the rules between the KBS, KBS Elite, and the Youth Trail are all the same with the exception of the School Trail. During the School Trail, the rules are pretty much the same, only they are allowed to fish from land, kayak, or boat during the online tournaments. At the KBS Championship for the School Trail, they do have to fish out of a kayak and abide by all the rules that we're fixing to go over now. So we'll click on the KBS Rules, which covers the Elite and the Youth. And the first thing you'll see is rules and penalties and penalties. These right here are just an overlook of all the rules and penalties below, and just covers a few things in it. Then you go down to practice and eligibility. Here, you do not have to be a member to fish the KBS. You can fish any online or any KBS event, physical or online. The only time you have to be a member is if you fish the Elite Trail, or you're going for AOY points, or you're trying to qualify to go to the KBS Classic, and you do have to be a member in order to do that. So you cannot get AOY points or qualify for the Classic unless you are a member. Another thing that this does not pertain to anymore is when you register for an event, it's all done online now, all the way up to the captain's meeting, whether it be online or a physical event. So since we're doing that, there are no more late fees for anyone. Even if you show up at a captain's meeting and you haven't registered, you can register at the captain's meeting. Just make sure you get there before the captain meeting starts, so we have plenty of time to get you registered online and get you on the leaderboard. So most captain meetings start at 7 p.m. at night, so make sure you get there around 5 or 6. Give us plenty of time to get you on there in case there are a few that show up. Even if you're fishing an online tournament, you can actually sign up the day of the tournament. Long as you watch the captain's meet before, which is going to be a video is what we're making here, that's going to be on this page. Practice and competition. You can practice anytime you want on any given lake that we have in a tournament. We'll always put the boundaries up way before the tournament so that way you can see what the boundaries are. We will not change those boundaries throughout the season. Once we put them up, they're going to be there for good. It's the same thing with all these rules. No No rule will change throughout the year. If there is a change to anything throughout the year, it will be mentioned at the captain's meeting, or we'll definitely give you plenty of time. But there will be no rule changes throughout the year. There may be clarification added. That will be it. But practice time and competition, 3 days prior to a tournament, you cannot hire a guide. You cannot do a flyover on the lake. You cannot go scuba diving. But prior to that 3 days, you can go out there and fish in a boat. You can fish in a kayak. You can fish with a trolling motor. You can fish with a guide if you want to. 3 days prior, the only people you can fish with 3 days prior to the tournament, which is the official practice time, is other members that are actually fishing in the tournament or people that are fishing in the tournament. So also, you cannot fish from or during the 3-day practice. Prior to that, you cannot take off from a private launch. You cannot take off from a private launch, even with permission, unless they give permission to everybody in the tournament, and then everybody has to be notified at least a week prior to the tournament that they can take off from that or launch from that site. As long as you're launching from a public site, even some sites, they make you pay to launch from there, it's still public. So you have to launch from a public site, and you have to fish public waters. On online tournaments, the same way. You cannot fish a private lake or a private pond. It has to be public waters. And you can fish anywhere within your division, except for a physical tournament, and it's only within the boundaries that are listed. Registration. There again, we're going to show you how to register on here. And once you register, it automatically puts you on the leaderboard. And once you've downloaded the app to your phone, all you've got to do is click on the app, and it'll take you right to uploading your catch. So registering online is very easy, very fast, and uploading the catch is even faster. And we have some new details for you on that too that I think you're going to love. Safety. We definitely want to follow all your safety rules of your state and city. Always wear your PFD during the tournament. Even if you're tethered to your kayak and you're out of your kayak, keep your PFD on. So make sure you follow these rules. If you're going out, since the tournament has a first cast at 6:30 and always ends at 3, unless otherwise specified during the captain's meeting or prior to the tournament, they'll always start at 6:30. You can go out at 4 a.m. if you want to and paddle 3 hours to get to your spot. Make sure you have a 360 light on your kayak. Make sure you're always safe on the water. Make sure you've got some type of sound device. That way, if you're in trouble, you can hopefully wave somebody down or blow a whistle or have some type of a device where you can get a hold of somebody else. So that way, in case you have a problem, people can reach out to you or call us, and we'll get somebody out there to you. Sportsmanship. Make sure that, we treat everybody with courtesy. Make sure we treat them the way we would want to be treated. So don't be cutting people off. Maintain your distance among your kayakers, and watch out for these other boaters out there in boats that doesn't watch for us. So give them the same courtesy that we would want them to give us. That goes for the same thing for angler code of conduct. Just read over these rules really well. If you have a question on them, please contact me, and I'll be glad to clarify those for you. Tackle and equipment. You can only use one rod, one reel, and one lure at one time. You cannot be trolling and fishing at the same time. You cannot use an A-rig. You cannot use a rig where you've got 2 or 3 different baits tied to it. Now, you can do a drop shot where you've got a sinker at the bottom and a worm above it. However you drop shot, you can do that. But you cannot use more than one bait at one time. You can now, BASS last year went up to a 10-foot rod, and we adopted that rule. You can use up to a 10-foot rod. Now, if you were fishing and you hooked a fish and you broke off, you can pick up another rod and cast back out there to try to get that fish. Or if you break off and he's still connected, you can grab your line and try to pull that fish in. But you cannot use 2 rods at one time. So read over the tackle and equipment rule really close and watch that. Kayak power and kayak identification. Now, you cannot use a trolling motor during the tournament. But during practice, you can use a trolling motor if you want to. But during the tournament, it's only paddle or pedal for right now. Kayak Identification, when you get there, we may inspect your kayak. You can use a paddle board, kayak, canoes. You can use any of those forms of transportation while fishing your tournament. Pre-fishing, you can fish out of a boat if you want to, up to the 3 days. During the 3 days, you cannot fish out of a boat. Permanent fishing locations. Like I said, again, we will put up a boundary for the physical tournaments, but when you're fishing online, as long as you're within your division, and usually the division may cover 4 or 5 states. You can fish in any of those you want to. You can fish in your backyard, or you can travel as far as you want to, as long as you're within that division. One thing about iAngler is we can tell exactly where you're at when you upload that picture. So stay within your division. Make sure they are public waters. Do not fish in an off-limits place, which would be private water or private pond. If we find out you are, you're completely disqualified from that tournament. Official checkpoints. We always have a captain's meeting the night before a tournament, so you can watch this video as many times as you want, but I would familiarize myself with this video before an online tournament or even a physical tournament. But we always have a physical tournament before, a physical captain's meeting before a tournament. That is your official checkpoint. It will always be at the same location unless otherwise specified. We do know that a physical tournament at Lake Darnell, we're having the captain's meeting at one location and the weigh-in another location. So check, and we'll always post until where the captain's meeting is going to be and where the weigh-in is going to be. Most of the time, it's at the same place. But either way, it's a Roadrunner event. So once you've done your captain's meeting, you can leave out anytime you want the next morning. You can leave out a couple of hours early if you want to. But the last upload is always at 3 o'clock. So, and then from there, you have an hour to get back. Now, you have to be checked in by 4 o'clock on a physical tournament. On an online tournament, your last upload's at 3 o'clock, period. You cannot upload fish afterwards. Competition period. Read over these rules really good. It tells when we start and when it ends. There again, most every tournament will be at 6:30. That's when first cast. And last upload is at 3 o'clock. Fishing tackle equipment. Again, this is covering more about it. The main thing here is your hog trough. Make sure you have an official hog trough. You can get them at many locations, and we have them listed here of hog troughs that you can get. Most hog troughs will have inches on one side and millimeters on the other. That's fine. If it's got inches on both sides, it's even better. If it's got a flotation device on it, that is great. Do not alter your board other than the fact that you're putting a flotation device on the bottom of it, or maybe something, a hole drilled in it, where you can have a flotation device hooked to it, or maybe it's tethered to your kayak. Do not cut this board. Do not change the numbers. I would get a magic marker and highlight each one of your marks, so that makes it easy for us to identify the length for your fish. So read all those rules good. Photo standards. Read this over very carefully. If we cannot properly identify the length or the fish, or whether or not it's touching the bump board, or all the criteria that's in the CPR, again, your fish could get disqualified. Now, if your fish is disqualified, you will get a text message on your phone letting you know it's disqualified and why. You might have another picture that you can upload to have that fish qualified again, and it may be approved. So make sure you take many pictures of your fish. Scoring. Go over the scoring. Every fish from 10 inches up will be qualified. The fish must be touching the bump board. Open or closed mouth is accepted. Your tail cannot be curled up. It needs to be laying down, but you cannot use your fingers to lay it down. You can use your hand in the center of the bass to secure the bass. Make sure the eyes are not covered. If the fish is curled up, If the tail's curled up, there again, it would be disqualified. So check all these rules really close. And another thing that we have on here with the rules are, it just shows why fish might be disqualified. Now, even if a fish is disqualified that you upload, we're going to send you a text, tell you why it's disqualified. You may have another picture that will qualify that fish, so it gives you a chance to re-upload that fish again and have it qualified. So even if you upload the same fish twice by mistake, we're going to sit there and look at the fish and see that it is a duplication. We're going to disqualify one of the fish, but the one that's uploaded good. Unless we find out that you're trying to upload the same fish over and over to try to get a fish qualified that it's already been qualified, then that's wrong. Please don't do that. That could get you disqualified from the whole entire tournament. So make sure you try to really check those pictures very well, because we'll be checking them very well. And we don't want no more than one fish uploaded unless there's a reason for you to upload another one. I know mistakes happen, and we'll catch that, and we can pretty much determine if it's a mistake. But if you're uploading the same fish over and over and over again, that could be grounds for disqualification. Make sure you check those fish. Even if you save the fish, name it so that way you'll know fish 1, fish 2, fish 3, or however you want to do that. So that way you make sure you're grabbing the correct fish. Other than that, late penalties, there again, when we're doing an online tournament, your last upload's at 3 o'clock. So after that, we would not accept any more uploads, whether it's a qualified fish or not. 3 o'clock's the end. When you're at a physical tournament, and the reason why we're mentioning this about the physical tournaments within this area as well, a lot of people cannot make it to the captain's meeting. They just got off work. They've got a 3 or 4 hour drive. They don't make the captain's meeting, so they can watch this one and catch your captain meeting, and then they can call us to get with us to get their identifier bracelet for a physical trail. But during a physical tournament, your last upload's at 3 o'clock again, but you have an hour to get to the weigh-in. When you get there at the weigh-in, you cut off your bracelet, you'll write your name on it and put it in a basket. You need to have that done by 4 p.m. Every minute after 4 p.m., you lose an inch. At 4:30, your total catch is disqualified. So make sure you're always back by 4 o'clock. If there is a reason that we have a large area for the boundaries and we feel that we need an extra 30 minutes or an extra hour, we will let everybody know way before the tournaments. That way it gives you plenty of time to know your time limits within your tournament, and we'll announce it at the captain's meeting. But most of the time, it's 4 o'clock. You have to be there by 4 o'clock. At 4:30, the weigh-in starts, and we do not wait on anyone. On ties, in case there is a tie, we always determine the tiebreaker by the biggest fish caught. Whoever caught the biggest fish, in case they are the same, is whoever caught the fish first, not uploaded it first. To give you an example, you're out on a lake and maybe you don't have a good signal, so you can't upload that fish. And say John caught his fish at 9 o'clock and Joe caught his at 10 o'clock, but Joe uploaded his right away. Funny. But John didn't upload his for a couple hours because he didn't have a signal. He still caught his fish first, so we'll go by the timestamp on your phone when you caught the fish. Who caught the fish first, not uploaded it first, as long as it was uploaded within the correct time limits. Rules and violations and appeals committee. Read over that really good in case there is a violation or something happened. You have 48 hours to contact us within writing or come do it in person at the tournament, and we'll have an appeals committee, and we'll work that out during that right there. You may get vindicated, or you may be, the rule could be changed. But either way it goes, there is appeals committee. It gives you a chance to come back and tell us what the problem was, and may get that fish qualified or vice versa. Patches and or signage. Anybody can wear any of your sponsors' patches anywhere. Just, use good judgment. Don't use patches that would offend anybody else. Awards and prizes and payouts and entry fees. Entry fees are wrote on the Angler Tournament app all throughout here, as well as the KBS. It's $125 for the KBS. It's $125 for the Elite Trail. It is $55 for the online tournaments, and it is $50 for the KBS Opens for the youth, and it's $15 for the youth membership, $30 for the online youth online events. So check out all these payouts, and it tells the payouts on the structure. As far as the prizes go, like I said, the prizes are always done with your wristband cut off, and we do a drawing. And it's really awesome because a lot of times we've had somebody that didn't even catch a fish win a kayak or a power pole or any product. So anybody can win with the prizes from the sponsors, but the payout is according to your catch. And this has the whole lineup according to how many people are in the tournament and how many places will be paid. KBS Youth structure payout is pretty much the same as the KBS, and so just read all the structures on the payout. When you come to the KBS Youth, and the AOYs for the Elite Trail, they're all wrote here too. But in order to get AOY points or qualify to go to a classic or a championship, you have to be a member. To fish the KBS Elite Trail, you have to be a member. Anybody can fish the tournament, whether you're a member or not, but you don't get AOY points and you won't qualify for the classic or the championships. Penalties, there again, read over these penalties. It tells what the penalties would be and what could happen if you are penalized. Sale of prizes. We know a lot of people win a kayak and they might be sponsored from a different kayak company, or the same thing with a rod or any of the products that we give away. So if you do happen to win a kayak or a product and you are sponsored by somebody else, or you want to sell that product because maybe you just bought a brand new kayak and you don't need it, we understand that you're going to sell these on different websites. Just do not place that on any of the KBS websites or any of the private Facebook groups. Do not place any of the prizes that you've won on those groups. Waiver and release. Everybody has to sign one. If you're 18 or older and fishing the KBS or the Elite, there is a place in here that you'll acknowledge the waiver form. But if you're under 18, you do have to sign one of these waiver forms, and we have to have a physical waiver form in our hand before you can fish the trail or online. So if you're under that age, before you fish that tournament, make sure we've got your release form in our hands. It cannot be en route. You cannot fish that tournament, even if you've signed up for it and paid for it. You cannot fish that tournament unless we have the waiver form in our hands and signed by all the proper people. So that covers most of your rules. And so we're going to go back to the KBS website. Sorry about that. And now that we have covered your identifiers, your rules, now this online captain's meeting will be placed right here where it says coming soon. This will actually be placed up today or by in the morning. Right here will be the captain's online meeting. Your sponsors will be in the center. And over here to the right, Michael Christopher, that owns Angler Tournament, is putting together a video that shows you how to go from the KBS website over to Angler and register for every tournament. That will be placed up today or by in the morning. So that way you'll know exactly how to navigate our website and get to everything on it that you need, and also how to register as well as use the app. The app is really amazing this year. And if you go on down to the bottom, it's just videos that we put up here from our sponsors. So going back to the top of the page, our next is our season. You can go down to your schedule, click on it, and it shows the divisions and what divisions you're in. They're all broke up by states. And then you can click on the schedule, whether it be the KBS Trail or the youth division or the elite division or the school trail. You click on it, and it's going to show your divisions. There's the South Division, there's the South Central Division, and it will tell in here when first cast is and when your last upload is. It'll tell where the captain's meeting is going to be at and when it'll start. Early registration at 5 p.m., captain's meeting, it starts at 7. Usually the captain meeting usually only lasts about 30 or 40 minutes at top. It's going to tell where your first physical open is at, and it's going to tell the dates for all your online tournaments. So this is great for each one of the divisions. You can go back to it and click on your membership. If you are going to plan on being a member, it has all your criteria in here that you would fill out, and then you would submit, and there again you can register for your tournament. Again, the other video is going to show you how to do that, but you would click on that. It would carry you over to iAngler, and then you would choose the correct tournament over on the right-hand side of iAngler's homepage. Click on it and just follow all the information to register for that event. We go back up here, and you got your tournament registration. Again, you can click on it, so we've got it more in one place. Again, you can just click on whichever one you want to register for, whether it be your basically all of them right here. You can just click on it, goes over there, and you will register for the correct event. The next thing that we would look at would be your resources, submitting your catch. Now, you definitely want to watch this very closely. It tells step 1, step 2, and step 3 on how to submit your catch. It tells how to use iAngler here. It just has all the steps for uploading and submitting your catch. Read over that very well. This right here is, you can click right here, and this is a tutorial that tells you how to submit your catch properly. Make sure that you have a hog trough. Make sure the mouth is touching the bump board. Make sure we can definitely see clearly that your tail is touching the bump board, and we can see the line clearly. We always go up to the mark that your fish is closest to. If it's not touching the mark, we go back to the nearest quarter of an inch. We can blow this picture up and see it very clearly. If you notice his bump board, all of his lines are highlighted, makes it easy for us to clear. Now, he's not pinching the tail. You would not want to hold your hand over the tail. The proper place would be to hold your hand here in the center to hold the fish down. Do not cover the eyes. We can tell if the fish is dead or not by the eye being closed. The mouth can be open or closed. Make sure the bass's belly is facing you and his mouth is facing left. Also right here, you would have your identifier, whether it be wrote on your hand. You can see in this picture, his identifier bracelet is showing, so we can tell that he is correct there. But if you're doing an online tournament, you may want to write the identifier code on your wrist so we see it clearly in the picture. Make sure your jacket or sleeve is not covering it up. Or you can write it on an identifier card and place it anywhere in this picture. A lot of guys will write it on a 3x5 card and put it in a Ziploc baggie. That way it doesn't get wet. I would suggest if you are writing it on your hand, you carry a Sharpie with you, so that way if it does get washed off, that you can rewrite it on there again. So really watch the way this is the proper way to do a catch, photo, and release. You're going back to the screen that we was on. The next resource would be your catch, photo, and release again. Goes back to that same screen and shows you how to do a catch, photo, and release properly. Goes back to the same screen. And then if you'll notice, also in resources, snapshot of your rules again. Then we can go over to your sponsors page. If you want to check out the sponsors, you can click on one. It'll go directly to their website. AOY standings. This is for everybody that is a member. KBS Trail, you can just pick out the trail that you're fishing, or all of them if you're fishing every one of them. Again, here, it's going to go to your AOY standings. It's going to have your first and last name. It's going to have your open division. You have to fish an open. If you do want to get AOY standings, you can fish as many of these tournaments you want. We do use your best 4, but I mean, you could fish an open and fish 2 online tournaments tournaments and probably place first in every one of them, and still maybe even beat somebody that fished all 4. The more you fish, the better chance you have of a higher rating. They start at 750 points and go down from there. So that's pretty much everything except for our contact information. And you can go on here, and it has my phone number. It has all the directors and how you can get a hold of them if you have a question, or email. So if you have a question or anything, please contact us. Other than that, good luck out there. Be safe. And we can't wait to see everybody at the KBS. And I think our first one's coming up next week for our first online tournament for the South Division. And we'll see y'all on the leaderboard.